thank you for being with us this evening on this historical day, MLK, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We just thank God for his legacy, and should I say, the rich legacy that he left us all. And I want you to realize something. Everything that he talked about back in the day, we're living it now. So we thank God for that rich legacy and everything that is happening in our lives. Also, we just want to thank you for allowing us to come into your homes. We are here to heal, we are here to help, we're here to inform, support, and advocate. We're on this learning journey together. Yes, God chose us to be on this journey. We didn't ask for it, but God chose us because He knew we were strong enough to carry out this assignment. So, Lee, I want to welcome you and say thank you for being on here with us today.
Good evening, Len. Good evening, Dr. Jackie, and good evening to your healing journey. You learn lessons learned. It's so good to be here. I got my shoulders here, big shoulders we have, Len, to carry
All right.
this.
All right, thank you. And also, we are a nonprofit 501(c)(3) organization. You know, we are working on grants and donations only. You can go to our website, ourlessonslearned.inc or .org, and you can make a donation. There's a PayPal link right on there, and that is a tax write-off. Also, we want to thank you for those people that came out to our charity run on last Saturday. We had so much fun, and we want to thank you all and thank you for the donations. They are so well appreciated and help us keep connecting. And Dr. Jackie Montgomery is with us this evening, and she has so much to talk about. So without further delay, Lee, would you like to go ahead and introduce Dr. Jackie Montgomery?
Well, I will try my best to introduce her and just do just a short little bit about her. She is there's so much that she does and so much that she's accomplished. But Reverend Dr. Jacqueline Montgomery, she's founder of the Healing Horizon 101. She's a certified trauma trainer and coach. She's a Christian counselor. She holds a master's PhD. She is a prolific author and speaker, and she's pastor of New Faith Christian Experience. Her passion and mission is to rehabilitate, and she focuses on those unable to expunge or seal their criminal. She comes with 20 years of direct service to justice and missions to impact individuals who long have been trapped in the hopeless cycle of rejection and disappointment. She comes to your healing table tonight to speak to the loved ones of the incarcerated. Her bio, again, is so long and impressive, but if I can shorten it, I can say that she is a friend and she is a child of God with a passion for mental health. Thank you
Yeah,
so much for here.
thank you. And can I just add one thing? One thing I've learned about Dr. Jackie, she is a teacher. And
Oh,
I mean a great teacher. So I just want to put in that accolade right there. You just break down things and you're a teacher and she will challenge you.
all
And
right.
that's what you want. So Dr. Jackie, go forth. We're so happy to have you.
Oh, thank you both. I'm excited to be here. Trauma has become my passion with all that we've endured with justice impacted people. And so, why trauma healing is essential and not optional. We need to understand that because most justice impacted individuals, they carry trauma that um, predates their offense, if I can say it that way. You know, it could be childhood abuse, neglect, poverty, violence, or, chronic instability, something to that nature, repeated rejection, and a growing sense of hopelessness. So, trauma affects how the brain processes stress, how it processes authority, conflict, and decision making. And without addressing it, people are frequently punished for their behaviors. And we need to know that they have survival responses rather than willful defiance. And I think that we have mislabeled justice impacted people long enough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, Trauma healing changes all of that. Through structured trauma informed support groups, participants learn how to regulate their emotions, accountability, empathy, boundaries, coping skills. And, this isn't about excusing past behavior, it's about understanding it, about owning it, and preventing it from repeating over and over again in the lives of those who've experienced that trauma. It needs to be addressed. And so we prepare people to get back into the workforce and back into what is called their new normal after going through such a traumatic experience as being arrested. It's traumatic all by
Yes,
itself.
it is.
So there's what's called employment waivers out there for employers who are searching for not so perfect people, but to be able to stabilize people who have criminal backgrounds and pretty much kind of erases them so that when a level 2 background check is opened up on that person, it just shows that they're eligible to work. It doesn't erase it, but it certainly allows them to pass a level 2 background check and give them a fresh start. So the level 2 background check matters for justice impacted individuals because that screening seems to be one of the biggest barriers
Hmm.
for justice impacted people because they have to face that guilt, that rejection all over again and constantly. Even after a person has completed their sentence, they've paid their debt to society and demonstrated years and years of stability. A lot of people are still going through this 10, 15, 20 years after their offense.
Mm-hmm. And
That
that's
is so,
crazy. Yes.
it's amazing. Their lives are totally ruined by something as simple as I was driving, I thought my license was suspended, so I gave the police officer my sister's name.
Mm.
That is a felony.
Mm.
And you're talking someone that lost their entire career behind fear um, that just happened to land them with a felony.
Yes.
Wow.
That's hard. That's tough.
And
That's
yeah, everybody looks at justice impacted people as if they're murderers and violent people, but there's someone just as simple as that.
mm, mm, mm. That's something. Look, the level 2 screening is the one that can cause recidivism as I look at it because you get out, you can't find a job. This is preventing you from getting a job. So then you start maybe resorting to your old ways, the old habits, the old friends, and things of that nature. And that can prevent, you from moving forward. So by passing that level 2 and getting that out of the way, then you're given a second chance.
Yes. Yes,
Wow.
and it's wonderful. The work I do it because just seeing someone cry with joy getting their lives back is
Yes.
so amazing. They've gone through, 10, 5, 13 years of having to create a new survival technique.
Hmm.
Not everybody's a real thief that has stolen something. You've got someone that's just applied for a loan and didn't read the paperwork correctly and now they have a felony. So there's many things that go along with justice impacted people, and the biggest barriers to those people is threefold. It really is. It's threefold. First, individuals who attempt to process it on their own and believe that they've done it correctly when they do this application, only to be denied due to their lack of education or guidance in the application process. That's where I come in at.
Okay.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
if this is what I like to say, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Yes. Yes. Wow. Now,
And go ahead.
I'm sorry, do you only do that for the state of Florida?
I'm venturing out now into North Carolina and other states.
Mm.
What I have to determine is where their level 2 backgrounds or everything's housed in clearinghouse, but the process to get there is differently in each state.
Okay.
So right now, heavily in Florida, just branching out to Carolinas, because the Department of Health controls all of the licensings in Florida, but not in Carolina.
Mm.
Which state do you find is tougher on their laws and rules around?
Florida,
Yes, yes. It is just,
Florida, and Texas.
yes, 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 yes. Now, the felonies and the misdemeanors, which ones do you work with the felonies as well, or just, okay, got you.
It's any criminal record that prevents you from getting employment. The reason I say that is a lot of people don't know there are misdemeanors that are labeled as misdemeanors, but they're coded as felonies.
Okay.
And unless you know how to read your court documents, you would not know that. I've got some 19-year-olds who don't understand why they can't get a job with the misdemeanor. Well, their misdemeanor says misdemeanor, but it's actually coded as a third-degree felony. So there's
Wow.
a lot that goes into our legal system that prevents people, period, from having a normal life again.
Wow.
You
And
don't know.
it's set up that way, you know, that's so hard.
Hmm. It
One
is.
one small choice or one wrong decision can impact you, and it seems like you can't climb out from it, from under it.
Mm-mm. Yeah. Yeah, but there is hope. There's all of these advertisements about expunging and sealing, and they just had an event here in Orlando, and I was very upset because I said, "You guys do this." All the time. These people are hopeless. They come in and you're just going to empty the whole room after all these people show up by saying, if you have an adjudication guilty, we can't help you. And
Wow.
so people go by the boatloads to these events hoping to get expungement and sealing. And it depends on your case. The majority of the people that come to these events cannot. And that's where I came in at. I
Yeah.
was there. They had to hand me the mic because people were just so hopeless. They've been going to so many of these events. And I said, there is hope because there is an employment waiver that can get you a background clearance for a level 2. And now they have hope because 20 years they've been waiting and they've been struggling. So, one of the second things that becomes the biggest barrier is opportunities for people that are seeking to have an additional income.
Hmm.
They actually harm applicants in this process. It's a big barrier because they see it as a new thing and they look at the application and assume that it's easy, but there's a lot of red tape. Again, I say if it was easy, and let me tell you, you can go out there and you can download that application, but there's red tape. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Wow.
So obviously, the application is out there for everyone to know it's there, but getting approved through the application is a whole nother ball game.
And a lot of times that's probably set up that way as well. You know, people have a problem in comprehending also with that, the level 2. How about housing?
Housing is a whole different ball game. People
Okay.
with felonies in a housing, which I'm getting ready to adjust through legislation as well, because I am so tired of our commissioners and representatives not understanding the process. The reason why felonies and felons are not getting housing is because they're high risk. The
Yes.
insurance the insurance that these complexes and housing places have to have is unaffordable if they have someone with a felony. And so it's not addressed because people don't know how to address it. Because you can have an ex felon who shoots someone, get a $4.3 million settlement for being on the property. So it is a big circle as to why we have homelessness in the justice impacted field. but I'm trying to address that in legislation as we speak.
Thank you for that
Because,
work that you do. I thank you for that because you think about so many things, the economic hardship, the stigmas that society places on them, and the discrimination. It's just
yes.
so much for them to handle. When they come out, they can't find a job, and you think so many of them have trauma from being on the inside, and then they're traumatized again on the outside, as well
Mhm.
as their loved ones. There's a breaking point there.
Mm.
There's a breaking point.
There is. And that brings me to the third biggest barrier, which is the government that keeps shifting the laws, the people that review this documentation. They're also restricting the approvals for someone to start their life over again. So I constantly have to look at the laws that they've changed. Um, we don't pardon people anymore in the state of Florida. So that's a big problem. But I do want to let a lot of justice impacted people know there are 2.2 million ex felons and misdemeanors, people that are impacted by that in the state of Florida. But
Yeah.
you can get your voting rights back and get some people in office to help
Yes.
Mhm.
change some of these laws that are restricting you from getting your life back, such
Yes.
as housing, such as employment. They just did a law that I'm putting back on the floor right now that combines federal law with state law. If
Mm,
you had a federal case, once you completed everything, you could immediately start to apply for a waiver. But when they combine the law, now there's a waiting period. So even after you've completed all of your stuff, you still have to wait 3 years, 2 years before you can even, excuse me, apply.
mhm.
That's after you've completed everything. So
Wow.
that law needs to be changed. It's for safety and society. I get it, but it impacts so many other people because now that they've combined federal law with state law.
And this is what avocation is all about. You keep saying I'm doing this. You're advocating for them, and this is what it's all about. When you think about the legal and civic restrictions, and there's so much, you are advocating for them. And I want more people to get involved and research and know these laws, because you know what? Your vote counts. Know who
Yes,
you're putting in office that can go to bat for you. This is so
exactly.
important.
Voting is going to be the very biggest topic. It's the topic for 2026 because it's
Yes.
going to affect where you are living. We
Yes.
all focus on the presidential race and we never focus on where we're living. Who you put in office in 2026 is going to impact where you're living.
Yes.
Right now, we have a governor who refuses to pardon people.
Mm-hmm.
In
Hmm.
8 years, I believe he's pardoned maybe 39.
Yes. And he
Unheard
put
of.
back the death penalty, didn't he? Didn't
Yes, he
he?
did.
Yes, he did. He put
Yes.
back that. And there are more people in Florida on death row than in any other state.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that falls.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had my first experience when my son was arrested and he was facing 25 to life.
Mm, mm, mm.
And most people do not go for a jury trial because we've been taught that you're not going to win. It's stacked up against you. I witnessed so much in that courtroom. I believe the stories now. There were two people that had the exact same charge, violation of probation, but the minority was sent back to jail while the other one was not. That was my first experience of the imbalance and the unfairness in our justice system. I
It's-
thought it was just, yeah, we talk about racism, we talk about all of these things, but no, it's real. It is real in the justice system.
yes.
And for them wanting to get my son in that justice system, I watched it.
Mm, mm,
Even so much so where the judge was sending for my son to be at the courthouse at 8:30 in the morning.
mm, 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 mm. But God.
Yes.
but God.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
It's just so much, the mental health challenges that are faced by them as well. And we hate to call them inmates, because
Yes.
after they have done their time and they're out, they're respectable. I'm still going to call them respectable human beings because being on the
They are.
inside, they're dehumanized.
Yes.
And
Yes.
coming out, they're human beings again. So we hate
Mhm.
to say former inmate. We
Right.
have to give them back that dignity again.
The new term is justice impacted. I'm
Yeah,
getting used to that term. I
yes,
really like it.
I do
Um,
too.
Desmond Meade is one that heads up trying to get the voting rights back for all of justice impacted people. He's done a wonderful job. In fact, it took him a few years to get it on the ballot where they could vote again. And then, of course, our governor says, okay, you win that battle. Everybody voted. But now we're going to add something to it. Their fines and fees must be paid in full.
Wow. Wow. So that's an
So,
impact for the family then because they can't get a job. So again, the loved ones are being impacted.
Absolutely.
yes.
Wow.
Yes, I put into legislation right now. Hopefully, it'll get approved, but I call it caregivers. Justice impacted people, they're caregivers. I mean, you can't look at it any other way. They're caregivers. They have to take care of someone that's been impacted by the justice system because there's no other help or support for them.
Yes. I laugh, Dr. Jackie, because Lee and I go back and forth. I say the loved ones, and she always says, well, they're caregivers too. And when you said caregivers, we chuckled there because of that word, you know. People look at caregivers such as a CNA or someone who's caring for, someone, but we always go back and forth with the caregivers, that word. So,
It really does fit because you are caring for someone who has trauma.
yes.
So it's like taking care of someone who has a disease, who has a sickness, who has all of that. Trauma is mental illness
Yes.
and it is something that needs to be talked about. It's
Yeah.
something that needs healing. You can heal from it. And so that's the importance of combining trauma healing with justice impacted people.
Yes. Yes.
They have a voice. Give
Yeah.
them their voice back.
Yes, exactly.
Give
That
them the love of God back.
yes, exactly. That's the only place they still really allow God is in the cells, in the prison. That's
Mhm.
something. That is something else. There are so many reentry challenges and there are so many new reentry places that we want to have a reentry home and things of that. Those places are good, but they need to give them education and things that are going to help them as they're coming out. And in today's society, AI, computer literacy, and things of that nature will also help them. Do you have any other recommendations for people, that are starting, those reentry homes and stuff like that, they places like that? What advice would you give them?
I would certainly, and not just because it's my passion,
Hmm.
but to certainly witness the fact that everybody needs healing.
Yes.
Trauma healing is different from trauma informed.
Yes, it is.
So, trauma healing to me is needed in all of these places to help people process
Hmm.
everything that they've been through.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it hits every area. I mean, they've got to learn how to forgive.
Yes.
They've
Yes.
got to learn what trauma is. A lot of people think trauma is simply something violent when it is not. Do you not know rejection alone is
It's
trauma?
trauma. Yes, it
And
is.
It is the largest and most deepest wound we all experience
Mhm,
because it's the most long lasting wound. We
mhm,
start with it from childhood and we end up with it as seniors because no one wants to put up with a senior. No one wants to change diapers. No one wants to deal with the elderly. And then when you're a child, you're rejected then as well because you're told what you can and what you cannot do because of
mhm.
your father or your mother. So rejection alone is one of the deepest wounds that we are always inflicted with.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
these, if you think about justice impacted people, you look at all the rejection that they've experienced, and that's just one heart wound.
Yes. Yes. And that can bring on the anger.
Oh, yes.
Anger, abandonment.
Yes. All of those things.
Yes.
It's
Yes. So
it's something they need to bring in and put more mental health in the facilities. If you're talking about rehabilitation, it starts with the mental health piece.
it
It
does.
starts with the mental health piece, and it should never end. It's a
No.
continuous uh service that should be offered.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
As a therapist, I get therapy too. So
Yes, we all
not
do. We all
ashamed to
do.
say that.
Yeah.
I mean, I need a therapist.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. Sometimes we have to unload,
Yes.
because we hear it all day long and we go through just like everybody else does. So, therapy, so many people have so many stigmas against therapy, but therapy is needed. Therapy is just healthy, it's therapeutic. It can
Hmm.
help you work through the challenges of life so you can live life more abundantly, freely, and it's something. So, I agree with you
Absolutely.
on that. Um,
Absolutely. It's
the
we experience, by the way, secondary trauma
Yes, we do.
as counselors, as professionals, as paramedics, as teachers, even. Secondary trauma is also an area that's not even discussed as well.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. And it's so important that people understand what trauma really is. And you just broke that down. So many people, hide behind fear and this and that because they don't know how to process those
Yes.
emotions. And, it's so interesting, trauma and how it plays out in your life. And, without getting the help that you need, you can't move forward. You're going to be stuck right there because of trauma, because of fear, because of unprocessed
Yes.
memories and trauma reactions. And what the therapy does is help you reprocess those traumatic thoughts and traumatic that trauma, and it can help you move forward in life. That's so you just do some great work here. I didn't know you do all of this. So, in our conversation, I didn't know you are powerful. Dr. Jackie, I thank you for this. This is something how you're out there. And how did you get into this? Was it because of your son? And I'm going to ask you something, but I'm going to ask you another question first. Sometimes people mean well, but they don't understand what you're going through and what you've been through until you've walked a mile in their shoes. So we call this the learning journey because we're on this journey together. But when people say, this and that, they really cannot identify until they've walked a mile. You've walked a mile, so you know what this journey is all about. By the grace of God, your son was spared, but leading up to it, what was it like for you?
It was very sad to see so many hurting people
Yes.
and nothing available. Um, just that simple
Mhm.
application is well known in certain areas, in certain arenas of the professional fields. And it's so sad to see that if justice impacted people got in trouble, the only jobs that were available to them were the hard jobs.
Mhm.
It was so demeaning that you got a degree, you can't use it, and you can only work at Checkers.
Yeah.
Just seeing how people are degraded, how they're treated, the hopelessness of ever having a normal life again, um, really did something to me. It
Wow.
it really did. I paid attention. A lot of people don't pay attention to that.
Yes, that's so powerful. You know, I always say that all things work together for good. So sometimes God will use what's closest to you to evoke some passion in different areas and purpose in this different areas. And that's where this purpose was birthed out of our, what we went through. And this was it was birthed out of it. So I identify with everything that you're saying, and there's work to be done in this area. And don't forget about the children, because we look at the adults, but the children suffer as well. And they suffer
Yes.
behavior problems, wetting in bed, just so many different things. They cannot handle what is going on. We always think, well, the child will be fine. Pay close attention to those children,
Mhm.
Hmm.
pay close attention to them. So it's just wonderful work that you're doing, because you're fighting for all, and that's what it takes.
It does. And I also want to, because if we don't speak up for ourselves and heal from what we've been through, we can't talk about it. We can't be passionate
Mm-mm,
about it. So
mm-mm.
I got in trouble and I had exposure as well. I've had experience. And it led me to, I could not believe that this is what people are going through. I was blessed to get through my situation, but to even know that just going through that situation, if I had been in prison or it been worse, then oh my God, here I am.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Got you. It's real.
Yes.
It's real.
It is so real. And this the shame of it, I think, is the worst because you're in a if you're in a professional field and
Mhm.
everybody knows you've gotten in trouble, you're just like, oh, and you're always looking over your shoulder because you think someone's going to use that to destroy your character or your integrity. So it's important for the trauma healing for
Yes.
me. I
Yes.
didn't have it. It wasn't available back when I needed it in the 80s. And so I just think it's real important right now because the shame alone and the rejection has a long lasting impact
It does.
on a person
Yes, it does.
and
Yes, it does.
everybody that loves them because you can't help them heal from that no
Mm.
matter what.
Yes.
You can't help them get through to process all of that pain, the
Yes.
hidden stuff that comes with it.
Hmm.
And that's why I focus on the hidden trauma
Yes.
more than anything else.
Mm. And trauma hides in the body.
Oh,
And
it does.
it's physiologically, and people think it's just psychological, but no, trauma hides. And when you start, when you have that trauma, it pushes it down in there just like a trash can. Put that top on it, and boom, and it spreads throughout the body. It can go in
It does.
toenails, in between the toes. But when it comes back, it's going to come back as fragments, just
It
like
does.
stained glass. Fragment here and a fragment there, and you put it
Mhm.
together, and you see how, wow, I didn't even know that was there. I didn't know this was there. And you're just, reprocessing those memories as they're coming back. And it's really powerful because you feel a release,
Mhm.
when you're able to reprocess, and it doesn't
Yes.
feel the same as it did. So, Lee, do you have any questions?
It's just not enough people is out there willing to help because there's so much that you go through, even with the counseling that's needed on the inside. There's counseling that's needed also as you come out and go on the back end of it too. And that
Mhm.
counseling will be there for the, let's see what our new word, justice impacted person.
Yes. Yes.
The
We,
buzzword.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we
Yes.
some counseling and it's individual. I might need more than you might need more than the next person, but there's just not enough people out there to help. And again, I thank you, Dr. Jackie, because Lynn and I found ourselves in this place for whatever reason God placed it on us and stuff, and we're just going to keep running with it until we get where God wants us to be. And we're just going to help those that we can possibly help and let them know that there's somebody out there trying to make a difference.
Yes, yes.
We we didn't go through it, right, Glenn?
Yeah, we're the connectors. We will connect them with you. We will connect them so they can get what they need. That's where the power comes in. It's the connection.
Yeah.
It is. And I thank you guys because a lot of times people don't recognize that you don't have to prove that you're a good person. You are a good person.
Hmm. Hmm.
Doesn't matter. Your
Hmm.
past does not define who you are. And you can't
Exactly.
allow people to do that either. So I refuse to let anybody take my voice. I don't care what anybody thinks about Dr. Jackie right now
That's right.
because she is going to be a good person whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
And that's what justice impacted people go through. You hear it all the time, but I'm a good person. Just because something happened to you does not mean you're not a good person.
Yes, it
It's
does.
just a stigma, like mental health.
It
Mhm.
is. It is. And I just, I'm hoping that things will change because there's so many restrictions on public benefits and just so many different things. And I just, I'm out there, we're fighting and we're helping at the same time. Like Lee and I, we laugh and we talk about, we're like, okay, we didn't call ourselves to this. God called us.
Yeah.
God chose us, for this. And we just always ask him to send us who we need, to send us what we need so we can be effective. So I'm praying that this does not fall on deaf ears. And I just thank you so much. You were so informative. And we
Yeah.
just thank you. We partnering with you, whether you want us or not. Okay. We are partnering with you. And we just thank you so much for being a part of our show. And I pray that people will watch this over and over again. If anybody had any problems, I don't know if it went on Facebook tonight, but you should always have our YouTube address. It never has a problem on broadcasting on YouTube. I will put this on Facebook. If it didn't, it will be downloaded within the next 30 minutes. So, Dr. Jackie, God bless you in
Yeah.
your journey. God bless you in helping others. That is so powerful what you're doing in the community. God bless your ministry. You are one powerful woman. And I thank you so much for the divine intervention. Thank you, Jean Ann, for introducing me to Dr. Jackie Montgomery. We're going to follow you in all that you are doing. And if we can ever be of service to you, our organization, please let us know because we are here to help and deliver and heal people in this journey. So thank you so much. Lee, would you like to have any closing remarks?
We're all on this journey together. So
Yes.
that we have people in every aspect in order to lessen the effect and to get the numbers down. So we gotta all do it, work together. So,
Yes.
so much.
Yes.
Yes. And as Lee always says, Lee has a little the phone was going her transcribing was going in and out. And Lee is like, look, I'm in South Carolina. I'm in a small town. So we always laugh about that. So anyway, Lee, thank you so much. Dr. Jackie, any closing remarks and advice to the loved ones?
Absolutely. Survival is your victory.
Yes. All
Mhm.
right.
Right.
Awesome. That's powerful. Survival is your victory. I
Mhm.
like that. That is perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Jackie. Will you promise us that you'll come back again sometime?
Absolutely. Thank you so
Thank you
much for
so much.
inviting me. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
giving me a voice and a place. And
Oh,
I just pray
wonderful.
for all of those that they receive the healing that they need. And also, thank you for this collaboration and this partnership. I look forward to it.
Thank you so much. All right, healing journey. Until we see you again, we'll see you in 2 weeks. Peace, be still,